Aloha, beautiful souls. Welcome to Grace Light Podcast. This is an opportunity to really connect to your highest self, to the purpose of your life, connect to your destiny, your vision, your truth. I hope you find some information that is inspiring and helps you align with the highest outcome for yourself at this time. So today I'm going to speak to you about vibration and what it means to have a vibration within us, around us, within our home environment, within our relationships, within our animals, even within our community, and how one either increases their vibration or decreases their vibration. So to begin with, what is vibration? Vibration is a combination of accumulated energy, matter, and particles and imprints from the heart, the soul, and the mind. All of those combined together create a frequency. That frequency creates a vibration. So going back about 20, 25 years ago, personally for myself, at the time I was using alcohol, and I wasn't very active in drug use, but I did have some drug use occasionally. Those elements consistently decreased my vibration. I also did not have education or training on how to eat healthy nutrients, and I was ingesting foods that had a lot of carbohydrates, a lot of sugars, and at that time were not necessarily organic. Combined all of those together, drugs, alcohol, foods that are not healthy, that led to a low vibration within my physical body. My physical body actually, for my soul's contract or my soul's purpose in this life, my physical body wants to contain a high vibration. It's part of my path. And at this point, I very much enjoy that. At that time, I was not necessarily aware of that. And so my higher self, or my original soul, which is always present within our interior, was trying to wake me up from the illusion that I was in around having a low frequency or low vibration. And so my body began to shut down because my frequency and my vibration were too low to continue in the physical form of my body, which houses my soul. So the soul was in charge. The soul is always in charge. And it was trying to wake me up in the physical form to let me know that my vibration and frequency were too low or too dense. Now, generally, that exists for the majority of individuals in humanity globally. We're not necessarily born having an awareness or a knowing that we're meant to raise our frequency and vibration. That knowledge is not given at birth. It's generally not given in our family unit. It's not given in our society, our community, our schools. the actual opposite is given. We're educated on increasing density, on decreasing our vibration and frequency. But in order to survive, we have to actually go against what we're educated on and learn how to increase our vibration and frequency so that we can sustain in the physical body and carry the soul and the light that incarnated so that we can have our life experiences. So 25 years ago, when my vibration was connecting mostly to dense matter of substances that I was ingesting in my body that were not of a proper aligned vibration, my frequency dropped many different times, and I would either attract sickness or it would manifest in my body to a high degree where it would take many months, even years to recover from. I also would attract relationships that were similar to that frequency and vibration of that dense matter, which could entail negative relationships like abusive relationships or toxic relationships. Other people that maybe have even a denser matter and energy than me. I also would attract environments to be in that would be negative, such as like homes, rental homes, community situations, businesses. So what happens is we multiply or amplify our vibration outside of us, whether it's positive or negative. At that time, when my higher self was very alert and present, trying to get me to wake up, the sickness or the negative relationships or situations I was involved in weren't necessarily ultimately bad, because they were trying to show me my own reflection. They were trying to show me a mirror, and I would experience something outside of myself that was pretty bad or difficult, tragic, heavy. And rather than look at that situation as though it was outside myself, I actually did have the awareness at that time that I was the originator of that experience. And if I wanted to have a different experience outside of myself, I would need to change my inner landscape or inner world. And that inner landscape and inner world is an accumulation of vibration, matter, energy. So thankfully, I many times attempted to stop the usage of alcohol and drugs and began to increase my awareness of nutrients and food that I was putting in my body, which then would ultimately lead my inner landscape to a higher vibrational field, which would then create a higher vibration outside of myself. At some point, I completely stopped the use of alcohol, drugs, and toxic foods, 100%, and have not gone back to that in many, many, many years at this point. Once that happened, I really needed to learn how to increase my vibration. So I stopped putting negative frequency, energy, and matter inside myself, which created a neutral platform. But I was still somewhat attracting what had become familiar or accustomed. So besides neutralizing my actions and behaviors, I had to do different actions and behaviors so that I would have different results. And that is what has really happened for me. So after I entered into my commitment of what I call sobriety, where I no longer participate in the use of any substances inside my body, of alcohol or drugs, I relocated my life to a different region of the world, which happens to be where I currently am in the Hawaiian Islands in the Pacific of the US. Now, one of the main reasons why I came here is because the vibration and frequency of the land is very high. Specifically, even where I currently reside on the island of Kauai, which is the most northern island in the Hawaiian Islands chain. So I wanted to experience a vibration and a frequency outside of myself that was larger than myself at that time and would help me to align myself with that higher vibration and increase my frequency, which is exactly what occurred. But in order for that to happen, the denser matter or denser energy in my physical body and my heart, my soul, and my mind, it also needed to rise to the surface so that it could begin to purify outside of me. And not only would I then be a neutral vibration, but I would be an increased positive vibration, because the negative stored vibration inside of me from participating in past negative toxins, substances, relationships, homes, work environments, and communities would need to leave my vibrational field. And I would need to recreate a vibrational field that amplified positive vibration and frequency. So I began that process in 2009, which was 12 years ago at this point. And this was just the relocation of moving to Hawaii. At that time, I also committed more wholeheartedly to an additional spiritual practice that I still study, where I have a teacher and mentors and guidance of how to simultaneously increase my vibration through many, many different techniques. But in more simpler terms, I relocated to the Hawaiian Islands. I had no longer participated in negative vibrational experiences. I neutralized my frequency, and now I was in a process of amplifying it. So for me, I have a very strong connection to nature. And the reason is that nature is neutral. It's always transforming. There's an active energy, and it's quite magnificent. So I am a very sensitive person, which means that I can feel energy. I can feel vibration. I can feel dense matter. Not only can I feel it, I can see it with my actual eyes, which has to do with what would be called a spiritual channel that I have since being a child. That's called my third eye. So that channel is open. So I'm feeling and I'm seeing vibration, energy, and matter. And at this point, all I want is to be around positive experiences or positive circumstances or positive outcomes. And so I began a process of spending as much time as possible in nature, getting in the ocean often for swimming, snorkeling, surfing, paddleboarding, getting in the rivers, hiking in the forests, on the mountains, the trails, sitting on the ground, walking on the ground without shoes on, either on the trails or on the beach. And just really putting myself out in this positive vibration and positive energy so that I could actually receive healing and nourishment. Because I was at a lower energy. I was at a dense energy, dense matter. I had spent 20, 25, 30 years accumulating toxicity. We have what's called lava rocks here because the islands are built off of previously active volcanoes. There's minerals in those rocks. Here on Kauai, there's actually ancient crystals in the ground too. The energy and the vibration of minerals, crystals, lava, the ions from the salt water, negative ions, the sunlight, the stars. There's no air pollution here. There's no light pollution here. So I see the stars every night. I see the moonlight. There's rainbows all the time. Sometimes I see 5 rainbows a day. That's rainbow light, rainbow frequency. There's dolphins, whales, sea turtles, fish. Lots of wild animals and birds out in the environment. Diverse flowers, trees, plants. Incredible colors. I started to merge with my environment, which was nourishing, which is nourishing. It's healing. And it continued to increase my vibration. I also had to do my inner work by continuing to no longer put toxic material inside my body. So I had made a commitment about almost 20 years ago to only eat organic food, which means that it does not have chemicals, pesticides on it. And to also eat foods that were raised consciously without any hormones or additional additives, preservatives, etc. That started to change my vibration along with what am I thinking? What's inside my mind? What's in my heart and what's in my soul? So I used my spiritual path and my spiritual practices to change the imprint of my soul, heart, mind. And that led to changing the imprint of my physical body. I used food, nutrients, supplements to change the messages of my vibration and frequency stored within the matter of my physical body. I used the outer environment of nature and Mother Earth to help me to heal and align with a higher message. And now at this point in my journey, my vibration is very high, and it's very high in connection to higher vibrations as well. So if I try to connect to a vibration that's not as high as me, it's immediate. Like yesterday, I actually went to a shop and I purchased a juice from a company here. But the vibration of the juice actually was not the same as my vibration, and it didn't resonate, and I ended up not feeling well afterwards. I have become very, very specific about what I participate in. I generally don't surround myself with people that are drinking alcohol, using drugs, putting toxins in their body through foods, chemicals, substances that I no longer resonate with. I do not participate in any media online or on the television, the radio, because the vibration is too dense, it's too low, and I don't resonate with it, and I don't want to ingest it. I also keep myself away from people that are arguing, fighting, screaming, yelling, being very negative with their actions, their speech, their communication, such as gossip or lying, such. All of this might sound kind of dramatic and as though I am like in my ego or trying to be separate from everybody, but it's really actually the opposite. It's that in order for me to sustain and to serve, which means to assist others, which is one of my intentions and main goals in my life, I actually need to keep my vibration at a very specific frequency. And that frequency must be very high. And then hopefully I am reflecting that frequency outside of myself, attracting in others at the same frequency and those that want to perhaps maybe join me and increase their frequency in similar ways, and show people what is possible of why we are actually here and how to increase our vibration. So at the beginning of this conversation, I was talking about that the majority of humanity and the world has very dense matter and dense vibration frequency inside of them, because there are forces or influences that want to keep humanity in this place of being not successful in awakening from illusion, in awakening and having consciousness, because those influences want to remain in power. Now, every individual person has the ability to awaken and become personally empowered. So what I did is I took my power into my own hands and I stopped the influence of outer influences affecting me to keep me in that dense place. I took myself out of the equation. I probably have a lot of judgment from others. Why don't I drink alcohol? Why don't I eat regular foods? Why don't I put myself in certain environments, watch the media? It's really irrelevant though, because at this point in my life is my life. And the path that I've chosen is very rewarding. And I feel good the majority of the time. So I'm going to keep on that path. And I'm also not judging other people. that have a different frequency or vibration, because we all have our lessons and our experiences that we need to learn. And there's different timelines and different outcomes, and not everyone is destined to have an awakening to the path that I'm on, or to the level of the commitment that I've made to myself to change my frequency and vibration. So generally, it is a very strong commitment. Like, for example, entering into sobriety and no longer participating in the use of substances, abstaining 100% year after year after year after year. That requires a lot of focus, a lot of commitment. Same with my commitment to only eating organic foods, or not watching media or violence on movies and such. It's not for everybody, but our path and our frequency are hand in hand. And we're either going to go down the path of negative vibration or positive. Both will attract a replication, a mirror of those circumstances. We're individually in charge of the outcome. We have free will as humans. It's an extraordinary opportunity and gift. But are we actually doing something with it? Are we making choices that are in integrity and consistent? Are we remaining committed? Or are we letting the influences of our community, our religion, our school, our relationships, our work, are we letting those influence us with an increase of negative vibration? Or are we influencing those outer things with our vibration that is higher? My intention and my goal is the latter, that I am an influencer, that my vibration influences others with a positive vibration. Even something like going to the dentist and me sitting in the dentist chair, not participating in the storyline or the matrix or the certain belief systems that everybody else sitting in that dentist chair believes in. I have the possibility to influence the hygienist, the dentist, with my vibration, to potentially awaken them to their vibration and see a reflection within themselves if they want to increase their vibration or keep it the same or decrease it. This is such an important and fascinating subject because it's how we stay alive. It sounds kind of dramatic, but it's really true. If you actually want to stay alive and have the opportunity to experience a really long life, like really long, I mean, it could go beyond 100 years easily, one needs to commit to increasing their vibration. So I'm on this path. It's what I do day in, day out. I clear my vibration. I keep it neutral. I continue to amend the past. And most importantly, I continue to increase it. It's really like everything to me. And when I look in the mirror, I can see my vibration and compared to other things. But having that higher vibration is like, it's everything to me. It's my entire life. And it's joyful and light-filled and eloquent. So that is some information for you to assimilate, digest, process. I hope it provided a little more insight for your journey individually. And you can contact me with questions, insights, reflections. Thanks so much for listening. This program was brought to you by Akara Grace with Gracelight Wellness, a center for empowerment that is located in the Hawaiian Islands on the island of Kauai. We offer wellness retreats, private healing consultations, personal soul readings and life guidance, Akashic record readings, and transformational coaching sessions. These can all be done remotely or in person in Hawaii. Please visit akaragrace.com, AAKARAGRACE.com for more information. Wishing you a bright and beautiful day. Aloha.